Hello my friends, back with another video, and before we get this video started I just want to say thank you to all the nice comments and all the feedback that you guys gave me on that last video I put up of our wedding shots of the wedding we did the other day. I had a lot of fun making that video, and a lot of people have been asking me for more behind the scenes. They want to see my work, and I get it, man. You know, somebody starts a YouTube channel, starts talking about photography, you want to make sure that they're not full of crap, so people want to see my work. I link my website and our portfolio on every video, and I posted that last video for the wedding that we did, so you guys could kind of see how we work, and the feedback was incredible. So I really appreciate you guys sharing that and watching it, because stuff like that doesn't get the same reach as a lot of my other videos. So just want to say I appreciate it. So we're going to be talking about why Nikon needs to release a 12 megapixel sensor for the Z line. And yes, I know that Nikon is probably not working on this camera and it's conceptual. I just want to talk about it because the 12 megapixel, you guys have heard me talk about the D700 a ton, okay? That camera is just so unbelievable, and 99% of why that camera is so amazing is the sensor that's inside it. Nikon did something special with the 12 megapixel camera, okay? And if they could take that technology, 12 megapixel camera sensor, and put it in a Z body with all of the new upgrades and technology that we have, somebody like me who shoots people for a living, weddings and portraits, things like that, would absolutely freak out. Now, a lot of people are going to watch this video and they'll be like, what is this guy talking about? Why the hell would you want 12 megapixels? Well, let me explain, okay? A bunch of megapixels are not going to help improve your photos. All they really do is give you more croppability and resolution. But the resolution is secondary, because most of the screens that people view media on are not 60 megapixel screens, okay? They're like 10 megapixels at the most. You're not viewing this stuff. Yes, you might be able to take a brand new Sony camera, or like a Z6ii, or these high megapixel cameras, and record or shoot images at really high resolutions, but 99% of the people that are going to be viewing that media aren't even going to be viewing it on a display station that can show you that resolution, okay? I mean, to be completely honest, nowadays 10 megapixels is completely enough. So I know that people don't want to go that low, because not only is it the display and the resolution, but it's also the croppability. And I get that. Some people want to shoot something a little bit wider and have that flexibility to be able to crop in. But honestly, there's so many, to me, there's drawbacks of having that, sacrificing certain things so you can have high resolution images, when you could just do a little bit better with your framing and get, because if you know how to frame something and you're not constantly trying to crop in like crazy, you don't need the drawbacks of the high resolution sensor. So more megapixels are not going to make your photos better, guys. They're really, really not. You're sacrificing storage space. For a wedding photographer, so the wedding that we did the other day, excuse me, I was looking at the photos after I uploaded. We shot 8,400 photos on the day, okay? Everybody knows it's me and my wife. We shoot with 4 cameras. We shoot a lot of photos during the day. 8,400 cameras. Do you guys understand how long it takes to cull those images and go through them with, if I had a 60 megapixel sensor? Just way too much. We use the Z6ii's 24 megapixel sensor, and it's okay, but it's still, it would be great if it was half that resolution. Just being able to flip through photos fast, being able to transfer them, downloading, backing up, things like that. It just makes it easier when you have a lower resolution for the workflow, especially when you're dealing with thousands of images. This doesn't make a lot of difference if you're only shooting, like, you have a session, you only come up with a couple hundred photos. Not that big a deal to transfer them or back them up and things like that. But when you're dealing with thousands of images, lower resolution makes the workflow so much easier. And plus, you're spending way less money on backup storage. We have, multiple backups, and when we replace those, they're extremely expensive. We have to get minimum 12 terabytes of backup storage to handle our current year and then the year before, because that's what we keep on our most recent storage. We keep the year before and then all the stuff that we're doing on that, and it's minimum 12 terabytes. So it's a ton of space and money. Space still costs money. So also, the way that these megapixels are actually arranged on the sensor, when you have a ton of them on there, when you have a 60 megapixel sensor, you have a ton of megapixels on that sensor, which means they're smaller. Less megapixels makes bigger megapixels because they're spread out across the same size sensor. A full frame sensor is the same size no matter what resolution it is, or megapixel size. It's just megapixels are like eyes. You can picture them like eyes on the camera. And if they're less megapixels, that means the actual eyes are bigger, which means they let in more light. Individually, they let in more light. Why does that matter? It matters because the quality of the noise that generates at higher ISOs is better, okay? Not only that, or it's more pleasing to look at. I mean, better is subjective, but when you're looking at the grain and the noise off a sensor that's very high megapixels, it's more digitized, more computerized, less feel. That's why, you know, if you look at old film images with, you know, that are shot, you know, at super high ISOs, with a lot of grain, it still can look really, really nice, even though there's a ton of grain on it. It just has something that's non-digitized about it, that's authentic. You know what I mean? High megapixel cameras, when you have tons of grain on it, it just looks nasty, okay? So when you're shooting with a 12 megapixel camera and you jack up your ISO, or there's, you know, less available light, the noise, the quality of the noise just looks better. Also, when the eye is bigger, the megapixel is bigger, you can, the color science is better. Like, it just, the colors are captured better. The dynamic range is better. And that's so, with these new cameras, there's so much more focus on resolution than there is on color science and quality of the shadows, okay? Those two images, or those two things, why do people not talk about those two things? Those are the most important things. The color science, the way people's skin is rendered, the way, well, mostly skin, that's what I pay attention to the most, but it changes depending on the sensor. And you can get way better color rendition and way better dynamic range. So dynamic range is if you have white to black, all that darkness in the middle, the gray and the deep blacks, dark blacks, all the way up to the very light grays, all that gradation and that change. There's so much better dynamic range. That's one thing that was amazing about the D700 is the quality of the shadows. When you have a good lens, you can just get the most unbelievable photos with that. And also, guys, the performance. If you're taking in less information, okay, less huge file sizes, less for the camera to process, which means I know that processing has got way better. You know, chip technology has gone crazy nowadays, but I just see it as the less pressure or, you know, high mileage you're putting on the processor, the better. You know, if you can have this extra space, you don't need to process so much information off the sensor, you're just going to get a better performing camera because you can dedicate all that extra processing power to the autofocus system, for instance, okay? I mean, it's just, we have this obsession now with resolution that's just so unfounded, I think, because, you know, back to the beginning of my video, it's like, we're not even viewing this stuff on super high resolution monitors, and our clients definitely aren't. I mean, they're looking at them on, you know, iPhones or, you know, just a regular computer monitor 99% of the time. You know, we don't really, every once in a while we'll hire like other, you know, creators that have major setups, but even then, you know, a 12 megapixel camera would be absolutely fine. So this is kind of a rant, and, you know, I do have Nikon's ear. I have a rep over there, so if you're listening, just maybe put the production guys back on it and just have them, you know, because I think there's something like this. Look what the D700 is, like a cult camera now. If they put that type of sensor, I mean, it's probably not, maybe it's not possible to build that exact same one. I think it was I can't remember who on the tip of my tongue. It's in the other D700 video, the actual manufacturer of that image sensor in the D700 was. But if they could go back and put that sensor into a Nikon Z6ii or Z6ii body, something like that, or Z7 II body, it would be absolutely incredible. I'm not too excited about the Z8. I mean, you know, yeah, it's gonna maybe have a lower price tag, but than people thought. But I don't really care about high resolution photos. I want quality quality processing, I want quality dynamic range, and I want quality of color. Okay, those are the things that are most important. Obviously autofocus too, but in terms of the sensor, it's not really resolution. We're already kind of like at the ceiling for what's actually useful. So hopefully this video helped give you guys some things to think about. Thank you for all the comments and the engagement with the videos. You guys are awesome, and until the next video, my friends.